everyone, it's Cathie Allan here with another Technique Taster and Creative Scrapbooking magazine. We're here today to share a card that you can make for your friends. And what's more fun than to use these fabulous art impressions, stamps that they have, especially their girlfriend line. This one's so much fun, comfy on a couch. Who else looks like this when you gather with your girlfriends, laughing and giggling and, and doing your hair and having spas and facials? So kind of this one really identified with me. And what I'm going to be showing you today is how to create this really fun background, this two-tone background. And we will do it two ways. We will do it blended and we will do it unblended. And then I'm going to show you a really nice coloring technique that you can do with your pencil crayons and using a product called Gamsol. So we are going to start, and I am going to stamp this rather large image, and sometimes when I'm doing a large image, I can actually misstamp it. So that's why I've pulled out my position it. Remember that this can be used two ways. In this position, with the handle being pulled to my left, is for my cling and my clear stamp. I have my paper that has been attached to my baseboard using just good old Scotch tape. You can find it anywhere, and I always tape it on the outside two corners. So this is taped down, and I am going to now stamp this large stamp. The other side, and the reason why it's got a sub-positioner on it on the side is because it's also meant to be used with, if we had moved the paper down into this corner, it is also meant to be used with your wooden handled stamps. So you have a positioner here for wood handle stamps, cling stamps, and your clear stamps. It's all in one. It likes to play with all the stamps. So we're going to turn it back around because I'm using a cling stamp, and I'm going to take out my archival dye-based Wicked Black stamp pad, and I am going to ink my girls. And it's not anywhere near dark enough, so obviously I'm going to ink it, bring my handle in, and I'm going to stamp it again. So here is my second stamp, and of course what we've got is a much darker image, and it's good to go. So I am going to start with the light color, and I'm simply going to go in there and base coat. Don't even worry about if you're going to see streaks in your coloring. Isn't a big deal. We are going to be coming back in here, and we're going to be using our Gamsol to pull the color and blend it all together. So that is going to allow us to simply put in one shade of red, and then go and get a darker shade of red and just go in there. I'm pretending my light is coming from this way. Then what I have is my Gamsol product. I don't want to tip it because I don't have the lid on it. So there is my Gamsol, which is an odorless mineral spirit. I've put a little bit into the lid, and I am going to use blending stubs that you can find in any art store. So what I will take with my paper blending stub is, I've had my blending stubs for a really long time. I'm going to dip the paper blending stub into the Gamsol and watch the magic happen. Once you're finished coloring, like I have here, I have cut it out and I have set it down on top of a sequence shaker box, which I'm not going to show you today. I'll share in another project. But if you come to the Creative Scrapbooking Carnival, one in Calgary, one in Edmonton, this is part of one of the classes that I will be sharing with you at that time. So that is how that coloring was all done for those beautiful ladies. Lots of fun, really easy to do. Here we are for the second part of this card that I'm going to show you how I created my beautiful background. What I have here is a Clearsnap 3D art screen, which is a stencil that is giving us that wonderful 3D look. And I have added some packing tape around. I just gives me an extra area to hang on to. And I love how easy it is because it's clear, so I can line designs up when I'm doing maybe a 12 by 12 page. So I'm going to take it. I like to secure my paper down. So I will again take my scrapbook adhesive, temporary adhesive, and I will just adhere it to a scrap piece of paper. Then, of course, I can put my stencil on top as I want to see it. I am going to go and get my ColorBox petal point, which is pigment ink. Love that it is so light fast. Love that years from now my color will look as intense as the day I made it, even if I have it in a very sunshiny room. And of course, we're going to use my favorite applicator because it is like a paintbrush for stamp pads, and my white foam tips. So I am going to start. Remember, when you're using these petal points, they come out so that you can use them individually. Okay, and I am going to start with the Dune color. So I'm going to pick up my color, and I am just going to start by applying this color. And think buff. I'm using a very little pressure to apply this color through the stencil. Perfect. That was fun. Then they have a great color in here. It's called Antique Pewter. One of my favorite colors. So I am going to flip it around. Now your foam tips, if you haven't used them before, they come off and they go on. So they're interchangeable. I don't throw my foam tips out because pigment ink is very stable. Some of my foam tips that I have in my collection, believe it or not, are over 25 years old and they're still going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my original color and work some of the Dune color over top of the Antique Pewter areas. Ready to see? We can peek. Oh, it's perfect. So we can take it off. So this is how I left it on the outside of the card. I left it just like this. It became my front panel. On the inside of the card, I made two more and I blended the edges together. So to do that, what I chose to do, I got my trusty Top Boss clear stamp pad out, which we know is a super multitasker medium, which I love, because I don't want to add any more color. I just want to do some blending around the edges. So I am going to take my paintbrush for my stamp pads and I'm going to ink it up with some of my clear ink. And now let's just smear that color, buff that color, add some shading into the color. If I want to add a bit more color, because the stylus is prepped with the Top Boss, I can go in here and just pick up a little bit of the Antique Pewter, and it's going to combine the Top Boss and the Antique Pewter. So just in the corners, I can get that little bit heavier. So when all is said and done, you end up with a really cool background that looks just like that. So when they get their card, friends who laugh last, they do when we have fun, and life is too short to act normal. Those stamps all come in this fabulous set from Art Impressions. We have combined beautiful pigment ink, a great paintbrush for your stamp pad, clear Top Boss, some amazing stamps, and we have a really fun card that I'm sure is going to make your friend smile. Have a great day.